While I was at the Center for Cartoon Studies, someone asked me a question about where I get my ideas for comics. This was just sort of a making conversation question, but it led me to thinking, at that point I really didn't make too many comics, and I realized the reason was that the ideas that other people were using to make comics, I was using in vlogs, blogs, and tweets. Alright. As an artist, I'd like to say that I don't like to be constricted by medium. I'll consider anything if I think that I can better express the ideas that I'm trying to express through that medium. But in general, I find that the way I express myself, while not restricted by medium, is not always dictated solely by content, by what medium best expresses the content of my message. Sometimes it's just on what I feel like doing at the time. A lot of it is on what sort of audience will be receiving the message. I know that when I started vlogging, it became sort of addictive because my vlogs quickly gained a much larger audience than my blogs ever did. And I'm sure I'm not alone on this. I mean, it's pretty logical. If you want to share something that's more personal and that you don't want the entire world to know, you probably aren't going to tweet it or make a vlog about it or do something that's open for so many people to see. And while thinking about audience and medium, I can't help but consider the criticism I've heard many people give others and give themselves of a presentation lacking realness, if it's not somehow spoken exactly the way that you would speak to a specific person in real life. This doesn't make any sense. When you communicate with different people, the way that you speak to them should be different. The way I address a class in order to retain as much of their attention as possible is not going to be the same as if I'm addressing one single student who I know already has a certain grasp of the knowledge. The way I address a group of people that I'm telling a story to is not going to be the same as if I'm addressing one person at a time. If you've ever hung out with me one-on-one and had me tell you a story, you know that it takes a very long time, because depending on your understanding of the backstory, I like to give lots of bunny trails so that you have the most full understanding. It's certainly not the most efficient way, and if I were to tweet that or make a comic of it, you certainly wouldn't get all the backstory, but maybe I'm assuming that you don't need it there. If I'm telling you a story in person, I can sort of judge your level of engagement, and if I'm losing you, I can cut it a little shorter or throw in some spicy details I think might catch your attention. But in the pre-produced form, such as video blogs, such as comics, such as anything that you write and then put out there, you have to assume a sort of median of attention and create for that. And if you pay attention, you'll notice that the way that you speak to colleagues is different than the way that you speak to close friends, is different than the way that you speak to family members, is different than the way that you speak to authority figures. And it should be. I know personally that when I speak to my father, I tend to mumble more, and it's not at all intentional, but it happens, as evidenced in this video here. So just for fun, to see how story translates in different mediums, I'm going to provide you with a slew of different links in the doobly-doo, telling the same story in video form, tweet, comic, blog post, and anything else I might be able to think of, but maybe that's just it. And also, if you're special, maybe I already told you this story in real time, so you can compare. So I guess I should just leave you with the fact that your content naturally should be tailored to the medium and to the audience. You learn how to best engage your audience in each medium, and don't let anyone criticize you because they think that your voice should be identical in every given context.